Zav here, and there have been a lot of questions and confusion recently regarding the watermark system used in New World. So hopefully this video can help clear up any questions you have or any confusion there may be and give you a better understanding of how the watermark system works. So first things first, what is the watermark system? The watermark system is basically the gear algorithm that they use upon hitting level 60. So before level 60, this doesn't even matter. So don't worry about it if you're not 60 yet. But upon hitting level 60, that kicks in the watermark system for your gear score, which is only impacted by dropped items from chests or mobs or expeditions. Make that clear again. It is only impacted by dropped items from chests, mobs, and expedition bosses. Okay? That is something very important to understand, is that it cannot be impacted by crafted gear, it cannot be impacted by faction gear, and it cannot be impacted by quest gear. All right. So some of you might see here that, we have a 570 bow and we have the 580 weapons from the quest lines. These do not have an impact on the watermark system. They do not factor in whatsoever to it. It is only dropped items from chests, world mobs, world bosses, and expeditions. Okay. That is something that is, a lot of people just need to differentiate right away. It cannot come from the auction house. It cannot come from trading. It cannot come from crafting. It cannot come from faction. Can't. Dropped here only. All right. Now, how does it work? Okay. So as soon as you hit level 60 and you begin going to these level 60 zones with level 60 plus mobs, the starting gear score begins at 500 gear score. And so when you first get those 500 gear score drops, the watermark system comes in, and now your watermark will begin to rise or continued drops from that point on. The next rank might be 505, and then 510, and then 515. And so as you can see here, our pants watermark, we've actually gotten a lot of pant drops, and our watermark has over time risen up to 554. However, our boots, in terms of the highest thing we've gotten, is 533. Now, this does not mean that you are only going to continue to get higher gear. You can still get 500 gear score pieces. What the watermark system does is just increase the range of the drops in which you can get in terms of the low end to high end. All right, so as you get drops consistently, the algorithm kicks in, okay, hey, this is what their next current cap is. This is their next highest potential possible drop. Once you hit that next highest potential possible drop, or, as you get close to it, it'll raise the cap furthermore. So as you continue to get loot, your watermark will continue to increase as well. Each gear piece, okay, for the respective slot, helmets, chests, gloves, boots, pants, have their own different watermark. However, it is universal for the armor types. So even if your watermark is high for pants, you can get high drops for cloth, medium, or heavy. However, for weapons, every weapon has its own unique watermark. So as you can see here, we've got, a 520 spear, we've got a 529 hatchet. Our swords are low, down to like 513, not very high. Now, another thing that does not impact is the only items from dropped content that do not impact watermark are unique items that would be legendary or are, should be legendary, like the Coral Lash here. The Coral Lash here is a 600. It's a unique world drop off of a mob, and it's a 600 gear score tier 4 epic sword. It's really weird. But this does not increase your watermark. I was still only getting swords around the 515 range from that point on. I never broke higher than that for multiple drops. So this has had no impact on my watermark. So that is one scenario in which a dropped item does not impact your watermark. All right. So again, it's each individual slot and each individual weapon have their own unique watermarks. All right. So even once you get to the point of having let's say you can potentially drop 580 weapons, you can still get weapons in the 505 to 510 range. All the watermark system does is increase the range over time in which your top end pieces could drop. Now, the way to increase your chances of getting higher drops, okay, is by killing higher level mobs. So if you just continuously kill level 60 mobs, you will, you'll get loot and you have a chance to get a higher watermark or raise your watermark and push your watermark. However, it's going to be a much lower chance than if you say you were running around Mirtgard killing level 64 elites. Killing the higher level, higher difficulty mobs and the named bosses and things like that and expedition bosses, those are going to be much higher chances and much more guaranteed ways of pushing your watermark higher. So the harder the mobs are that you kill, the higher the difficulty mobs and bosses that you kill, the higher chance you have of getting higher watermark based gear. If you stay at the easiest mobs possible, you have a chance, but it's very low, and you will probably much more commonly get the lower end watermark items versus the higher end watermarks items. And so that is just the way in which you will push your watermark. And so that's where things like tuning orbs and expeditions and the arenas, those things come into play, because those are bosses and content, group content that is supposed to be of the higher level and higher difficulty. And so those are going to be more eligible for pushing your watermark higher. So again, just to make it very clear, each piece of gear and each weapon type has its own watermark. The watermark is merely the range in which your gear score potential of an item can drop at. Does not guarantee you to drop at the highest value every time, but it can give you it'll give you a higher range over time. The items that do not impact watermark are dropped items, faction items, auction house, traded, crafted, none of that. It is only dropped items. Dropped items are the only thing, and dropped items are quantified as things from bosses, dungeons, chests, etc. Okay, it has to be something that is looted. A looted item is how you will increase your watermark. All right, quest gear does not do it. So all those 580s and 560, 570 PCs you've gotten, they don't matter. Okay. Now, the next nice thing about this is that you do not actually need to keep any of the gear on you, and you do not need to equip any of it if you do not want to. So this can, make you eligible for trading gear to other people if you get a higher drop and or posting it on the auction house. You don't have to worry about losing pieces just for the sake of equipping them. The system automatically, changes your algorithm of what your current watermark is as soon as you get the drop. So the interesting thing about this system, and the nice thing about it, is that it does create a bit of an ecosystem with your party members or guild mates, in terms of, maybe I'm the person getting really high pants and there's another person in our group who's getting really high chest pieces or gloves or a weapon of some type. You are able to, exchange pieces, trade them around for whoever needs what at that time. The downside is that when it comes to it, you don't really get a choice in what you do push up. So in terms of my weapons, my highest weapon drop watermark right now is a weapon I don't even use, and that is the Ice Gauntlet. My Ice Gauntlet watermark is around 540, but my main weapons, Spear and Hatchet, are both under 530. So that's very unfortunate in that regard. But at least in the meantime, I'm able to sell any Ice Gauntlets I get and make some money off of them. So that is, one way to look at it, but it is a system where over time, by playing the game and continuously doing high level content, killing high level mobs, and being in those end game zones, your gear score will go up. It is a guaranteed system to make your gear score go up over time. So as long as you play the game and participate in the activities, you're going to push that watermark. And that's the important thing there. All right, so I hope this cleared some things up for people. If you have any questions, you can drop on by our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Zav, and I will be happy to answer any questions you have or clarify anything that maybe I didn't explain so well in this video. And if you do have any follow-up questions, feel free to drop on by. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.